The husband has fallen for a time-traveling woman who boldly proclaims the virtues of free love, inviting her into their abode under the guise of nurturing their daughter. She intentionally leads the girl astray. A life devoid of love is incomplete. Arranged marriages are a desecration of one's free spirit. Be brave, pursue love. Though the daughter fails to absorb her words, the venerable father-in-law, having crossed the threshold of 50, heeds her counsel. He absconds with his beloved under the moonlight, traversing 800 li in haste. In a flurry, I implore my husband to dispatch all the household servants and guards in search of them. Observing my distress, the time-traveling woman revels in her triumph. I have merely guided him to make the right choice. In time, he shall be grateful to me. I turn and deliver a resounding slap to her face, suppressing the urge to inform her that this is the residence of the Grand Princess. The father-in-law is a reluctant consort, forcibly reclaimed by the Grand Princess. And the last individual who incited him to flee now lies beneath mounds of earth, their kin long forgotten. The narrative unfolds with Suyu inciting my 12-year-old daughter to elope with the stableman. She professes that love is the most precious treasure in life, asserting that a life devoid of a passionate romance is a life unfulfilled. Zhangde has matured and is composed, aside from his status. What flaw does he possess that renders him unworthy of you? Tonight, at the stroke of midnight, I can assist you in escaping this suffocating household. You shall become a blissfully united couple, engaging in the idyllic pursuits of farming and domesticity, truly, the epitome of happiness, she insists. As I bring my daughter some snacks, I overhear Suyu's ill-intentioned remarks, sending a chill down my spine. The stableman, Zhangde, is nearly 20 years my daughter's senior. With a set of yellowing teeth and a proclivity for gambling and heavy drinking with his rowdy companions, Suyu dares to propose that my 12-year-old daughter elope with him under the guise of love. I kick open the door and admonish her sternly, silence. The esteemed status of a princess necessitates that her marital affairs are subject to the scrutiny of the emperor and her mother-in-law. How dare you utter such nonsense here? Suyu merely scoffs, draping an arm over my daughter's shoulder. Do you see? This is your ignorant mother. What of status and class? It's merely a matter of wealth and poverty. If you do not escape, you shall be condemned to a life akin to hers. She insists she is saving my daughter. My daughter, confused, raises her gaze and exclaims, "But I do not like Zhangde. And what is wrong with being like my mother? She is a highly esteemed lady, a noble's wife of great repute. It is because of her that I was born a princess. I am relieved that my daughter has not been swayed by her." I promptly instruct the servants, anyone who dares to speak ill of the princess shall be taken away and soundly punished. Suyu shrieks, a pack of ignorant lower-class individuals. I am a guest brought here by the Marquis himself. Do you not understand what a guest is? If you lay a finger on me, the Marquis will not let you off lightly. The maidservants exchange glances before seizing her arms, stuffing a cloth in her mouth, and dragging her away. I sit beside my daughter, observing coldly. Yet, in the next moment, Suyu appears to have spotted a savior, bursting into excitement. Her husband, who had not visited for months, stands at the door, clad in resplendent black attire, his expression dark and brooding. "Stop," he commands, forcefully pushing aside the two maidservants and enveloping Suyu in his embrace, glaring at me. "Yan Shi, you are becoming increasingly unreasonable." I let out a cold scoff, reiterating Suyu's previous comments. My husband falls silent, while Suyu leaps up, exclaiming, "She merely craves wealth over love. In the realm of love, all are equal." Zhangde has gazed upon the princess countless times. Even I, an outsider, feel pity for him. I act solely in the princess's best interest. Life is precious, yet love is priceless. If the princess marries him, she shall experience the most exquisite love imaginable, leading a life devoid of regrets. My husband's eyes gleam with admiration as he gazes at her. Yan Shi, a Yu, is merely considering our daughter's well-being. She simply lacks understanding of our circumstances. Look, our daughter is unharmed. Let this matter rest. With that, he disregards my displeasure and, arm in arm with Suyu, departs to revel in merriment. I, exasperated, dismiss Zhangde and hurriedly tend to my daughter, offering comfort and guidance. None of us notice the thoughtful expression on my father-in-law's face as he overhears Suyu's words. The following morning, as I awaken, A maid rushes into my chamber in a frenzy.
Madame, dear news.
The old marquis is missing. My father-in-law, in his youth, was charming and extraordinarily handsome, the object of admiration for all women in the capital. The princess, my mother-in-law, fancied such youthful beauty during her younger days. She fought valiantly for her brother and remained unmarried into her 20s, insisting on marrying the man of her choice, regardless of imperial decrees. My father-in-law had no objections to the emperor's marriage edict, yet on the night of their wedding, he brazenly abandoned my mother-in-law for his cousin, declaring that his heart belonged solely to her. He believed my mother-in-law would weep silently, enduring the sight of his affection for another. However, she cared little for his feelings. Her desires were purely physical. As a formidable princess with command over thousands of troops, she had no need to fear a man's whims. Thus, she had him forcibly brought to her chambers, where she administered potent concoctions. Within 3 months, my father-in-law succumbed, reportedly trembling upon his release. Yet, it was evident that while my mother-in-law had subdued his body, she had not tamed his mind. Suyu's words resonated with him. And while my mother-in-law was away on a pilgrimage, he absconded with his widowed cousin, following the route Suyu had devised for my daughter and the stableman. My mind buzzed with confusion, and I immediately ordered all the servants to pursue them. If we could retrieve my father-in-law before my mother-in-law returned, all would be well. If not, we would require more hands to locate him. Upon arriving at my husband Gu Chongjing's residence, I found that he had yet to rise. It was Suyu, draped in Gu Chongjing's attire, who answered the door, intentionally revealing her neck adorned with hickeys, pouting as she asked, "What brings you here, big sister?" Jing was tired last night and has no time for you. I had no desire to engage with her, yet she stubbornly barred my entrance.
Oh.
You wouldn't be here on a mission to catch a mistress, would you? She taunted. Only those unloved are mistresses. It remains to be seen who the true mistress is between us. Though I was unaware of the full implications of her words, I sensed they were not complimentary. Despite my usual restraint, urgency compelled me to act. I contemplated sending a maid to force my way in, but Gu Chongjing's quarters were guarded by skilled warriors. And Suyu had previously claimed I bullied her, leading him to instruct the guards to heed her alone.
Stretching lastly, Sujuri marked.
Whatever you have to say can be relayed to Jing. If there is nothing else, I wish to return to my slumber. Surveying the multitude of maidservants surrounding the courtyard, I found it challenging to voice my concerns. Gu Chongjing, your father has eloped with a vixen. I gritted my teeth and leaned closer to her ear, whispering the entire situation, hoping she would relay it to Gu Chongjing so we might locate my father-in-law. However, upon hearing my tale, she merely chuckled. This is splendid news. Your father has spent his life in an unhappy marriage. How wonderful that he finally pursues love and freedom. It is no small feat for him to take this step, and you wish to bring him back? How utterly archaic. Frustrated, I stamped my foot, disregarding propriety as I called out Gu Chongjing's name. Seeing my distress, Suyu pouted playfully. I will not allow Jing to be pulled away from his newfound happiness. You might as well abandon this notion. With that, she slammed the door shut in my face, resolute in preventing me from seeking my father-in-law. She had Gu Chongjing ensnared in revelries with other young gentlemen, engaging in music and merriment. Without Gu Chongjing's token, I was powerless to command the guards and could only watch helplessly as my father-in-law distanced himself from me. I repeatedly sought Gu Chongjing, only to be rebuffed by Suyu each time. She held her head high, disdain evident in her demeanor. Big sister, Jing is fond of me now. Please do not embarrass yourself by pursuing him. The one time Gu Chongjing opened the door, my joy was short-lived as he wore an expression of irritation. Yen Shi, you are truly bothersome. I wish only to enjoy my time with you. Do not bring any matters to my attention. Anything that concerns me, I have no interest in, he declared. The feelings that the eldest princess harbors for her incompetent son stem entirely from her father-in-law. It was he who tirelessly petitioned for half a month to secure his marquis title. The family's accolades are all reliant upon her mother-in-law, whose temperament is notoriously fierce. I refrained from uttering anything further, turning to return home, for it is futile to reason with a cursed spectre. With only 2 days remaining before my mother-in-law's return, I found myself compelled to seek assistance from my own family. However, Suyu mistakenly believed I was intimidated by her. sending invitations to the nobility under my title as the Countess of Anning to host a banquet. I had no time to engage with her. But upon hastily returning home after a day of busyness, I discovered that both my daughter and son had been abducted by her. Suyu left a note. A Jing is to have a grand wedding, and these 2 children shall serve as my flower children. The venue for the banquet hosted by Suyu and Gu Chongjing was the eldest princess's hot spring villa. When I rushed there, the festivities had already commenced. Clad in a peculiar white veil, Suyu gazed sweetly at Gu Chongjing beside her. A throng of nobles, eager to curry favor with the eldest princess.
Lavish prasepan sujue.
Yet, as I scanned the surroundings, I could not catch a glimpse of my children. Gu Chongjing, where are the children? A flicker of guilt crossed his face. What are you so anxious about, Yen? Am I their father to harm them?
Sujue haf disdanfelli. Stepinu forward.
Indeed, sister. Why the rush? I kindly offered them the roles of flower children. Yet those uncouth brats refused, claiming only you are the countess. How laughable. A Jing is clearly in love with me. It's astonishing they cannot see this, so I shall discipline them on your behalf. I felt a surge of urgency. My father-in-law was still unaccounted for, and my children were missing. Where on earth are my children? She merely pouted, hiding behind Gu Chongjing, as a dozen guards stood firmly in their way. Once the wedding concludes, I shall release them, she declared. A Jing has suffered enough in this arranged marriage for over a decade. Those 2 little brats are merely collateral damage of such unions. Do you truly wish to disrupt our love for their sake? That is utterly unreasonable. I am a Jing's one true love, and henceforth, I shall be the sole mistress of the Marquise, giving rise to genuine love's fruition, while you remain nothing but a despised cast-off. As she spoke, she commanded the musicians to continue playing, cheerfully picking up a ring box. Welcome to the wedding of Miss Suyu and Mr. Gu Chongjing. True love is indifferent to time, fame, and all worldly matters. Today, I willingly cast aside everything to marry him. I knew that most present were oblivious to the essence of love, but I had already assisted a Jing's father in discovering his true affection, and I would help them find love as well. Yet, the very nobles who had once fawned over her fell silent, as if they had heard something profoundly terrifying. A chorus of armored footsteps echoed from outside, and a chilling feminine voice pierced through the air. Whom do you claim to have helped find love? My mother-in-law appeared in a sharp crimson riding ensemble, her long brows accentuating a piercing gaze, flanked by dozens of black-clad guards. Everyone shrank back in trepidation, too frightened to utter a word, save for Suyu, who proudly approached. You must be a Jing's mother. I am Suyu, a Jing's beloved. My mother-in-law did not spare her a glance, her narrowed eyes surveying the area. Upon noticing the white flowers arranged by Suyu, she grimaced in distaste and commanded her guards, remove this incongruous display. Suyu's face flushed with indignation. I painstakingly arranged these flowers. They were purchased with a Jing's money. By what right do you demand their removal? I see, my mother-in-law replied, her disdain palpable. You and that wretched yellow-faced woman entangled with a Jing are in cahoots. No wonder you can coexist as mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, as both of you covet another's man. Finally acknowledging her presence, my mother-in-law cast a dismissive glance at Suyu, causing Gu Chongjing to tremble, yet she continued to speak. A Jing's father has suffered a lifetime due to this arranged marriage, but now he has been inspired by my words to pursue true love. I advise you to relinquish your claims. Otherwise, only sorrow shall ensue for all. I know a woman as obstinate as you cannot comprehend my words, but the die is cast. You will accept it, whether you wish to or not. My mother-in-law lightly scoffed, elegantly snapping a lily blossom with her vibrant nails. What do I care for his suffering? You, of all people, dare to issue commands to me? Suyu stood tall, declaring, I am Suyu, a free spirit from the future. If you would accept me as your daughter-in-law, you would gain another daughter who loves you dearly. Daughter-in-law? Who are you to claim such a title? Yan Hening, what sort of household do you run? Allowing anyone to waltz in? My mother-in-law discarded the lily to the ground, instructing her maid, strike her until she learns her place. 2 burly maids seized Suyu's arms, delivering stinging blows to her face. She began to scream. Who permits you to strike me? This is unlawful. I only wish well for you. A Jing. Save me. Gu Chongjing hesitated, standing by, before finally stepping in front of Suyu. Mother, she is my beloved. Albeit a bit unruly, she bears no ill intent. Please, let her go this once. I shall ensure she learns her manners." After uttering this, he scratched his head in confusion.
Yue.
"What did you mean when you said my father found true love? I don't quite understand. By the way, I haven't seen father around these past few days." I scoffed. "Your true love, Suyu, has incited your father to elope with his white moonlight cousin. He has likely fled 1,000 miles by now."
What?
Gu Changjing's legs buckled. Father would stoop to such shamelessness? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Yen, how do you manage this household? With an exasperated roll of my eyes, I replied, "I've sought you out numerous times, yet you claim to wish to hear nothing of it." Suyu's face had swollen considerably from the blows. I approached her, grasping her chin. "Where are my children?" She remained silent, only revealing a malicious smirk. "I won't tell you, you green tea that disrupts others' love. Two unfortunate products of a feudal society ought to vanish from this world forever." My eyelid twitched as I ordered the guards to search the entire estate. My mother-in-law likewise commanded her guards to join the search, her icy gaze fixed on the still self-satisfied Suyu. "If my grandchildren are not found within a quarter of an hour, I shall sever one of her fingers." Suyu believed my mother-in-law was merely attempting to intimidate her and remained unperturbed until the guards truly severed her pinky finger with a dagger. She screamed in pain, but her mouth was quickly silenced by a guard. They pressed her back down, the dagger poised against another of her uninjured fingers. After losing 2 fingers, Suyu finally could endure no more. "Those 2 little devils are locked in a cage with monkeys." My mother-in-law's estate housed a collection of wild monkeys for display, known for their unruly nature, often leaving adults with scratches. I could scarcely fathom that she would confine my children there. Gu Changjing paused in shock. "Ayu, did you not say you merely locked them in an empty room?" Suyu, filled with bitterness, retorted, "They dared to insult me. I was merely teaching them a lesson. Besides, don't children adore monkeys?" I lifted my hand and struck her without hesitation, rushing towards the animal enclosure. My daughter and son huddled in the corner of the cage, their bodies drenched in blood, with several monkeys' claws still stained with their flesh. The guards opened the cage, retrieving my children. They collapsed into my arms, weeping uncontrollably. "Mother, we thought we would never see you again." Woo-woo. As I gazed upon the bloodstains adorning their faces and bodies, a tempest of fury surged within me. How dare Suyu act in such a manner? Gu Changjing trailed behind us, his head bowed. "Hening, Yue did not mean it. She is inherently innocent and truly did not foresee the monkey's ferocity. Would you plead for her with mother later?" I dismissed him, fervently wiping the child's body with a warm towel, frantically searching for a physician, caught in a whirlwind of activity. Our relationship had always been one of mutual benefit. Devoid of emotion, my 2 children were my entire world. The audacity of Gu Changjing and Suyu to harm my children was tantamount to threatening my very existence. I summoned the guards from my maternal family and commanded, "Hang Suyu up, for every wound on the little princess and the young heir. Let her bear an equal mark upon her own flesh." Alas, the cage of monkeys had already been dealt with. Otherwise, I would have relished the opportunity to make her experience the confinement of a monkey's cage. My mother-in-law, who typically dotes on her daughter, promptly instructed the maidservants. "What is a mere scratch? Toss her into the Dali temple. Let her endure the same number of punishments as the wounds she inflicted." Not only had she incited my consort to flee, but she also dared to injure my granddaughter. I vowed to keep her alive, to make her suffer agonizingly. Gu Changjing knelt upon the ground, weeping as he grasped the hem of the princess's gown. "Mother, please, you cannot do this. My son truly cares for her. The children have merely sustained a few injuries. It is excessive to treat her so harshly." The immediate priority was to find father. My mother-in-law lifted his chin, her voice dripping with disdain. "I nearly forgot about you. How could a woman of such brilliance give birth to a fool like you, as dim-witted as him?" She gestured to the guards, lock him in a cage and introduce a few venomous snakes. Gu Changjing squealed in terror. Meanwhile, the silent Suyu straightened her posture, casting a glare filled with hatred at me and my mother-in-law. "Ajing, do not fear her. They are merely envious of the pure love we possess in this world. If one were to perish for love, that would undoubtedly be the most beautiful fate. Moreover, consider your father. He would not abandon you." I am the benefactor of his happiness. If he learns of the torment you inflict upon me, do you think you will enjoy a peaceful life? This is a patriarchal society, and this is the Marquis's residence. He and Gu Chongjing are the masters of this household. You two are merely competing green tea leaves. Do you truly think I fear you? So, this was her perspective. She believed Gu Chongjing was the Marquis, and that her father-in-law held even greater authority. In her eyes, my mother-in-law and I were simply two parasitic vines clinging to their support. Had she taken a moment to observe before entering the manor, she would have realized this was not merely a Marquis's residence, but the estate of the Grand Princess. Gu Chongjing, flustered, covered her mouth. Mother, she did not mean it. Yet, Suyu was ungrateful. A Jing, why fear her? You are the Marquis. Gu Chongjing, in a frenzy, stomped his feet. My mother-in-law merely waved her hand, and the two guards separated the star-crossed lovers, one sent to the Dali Temple and the other thrown into a cage. At last, tranquility enveloped the world. My mother-in-law, fatigued, sat at the head of her daughter's bed. He-Ning, do you think I was wrong? The matter concerning my father-in-law still weighed heavily on her heart, akin to the pain Gu Chongjing had inflicted upon me. I yearned to offer her comfort, but before I could utter a word, she casually remarked, I should never have allowed the emperor to bestow the title of consort upon him. I was mistaken. How could he possibly deserve the position of my consort? Gu Yunshu was growing old. It seemed the time had come for me to seek a more obedient new consort. The land under heaven belongs to the king. Such a saying is not without merit. Within 3 days, my mother-in-law had unearthed my father-in-law and his beloved from a dilapidated village at the border. The two huddled together like quaking quails. My father-in-law glared at my mother-in-law with fury. Grand Princess, has it not sufficed that you have torn us apart for over 20 years? The one I love is Jinsei, were it not for your oppressive royal power. I would never have looked upon a woman like you. His beloved raised her delicate face, still enchanting even after widowhood. Your Highness, I implore you to grant us our happiness. Jinsei truly loves her cousin. I am willing to serve as a maid or concubine in his household, as long as I can remain by his side. Very well, my mother-in-law replied with a smile, tossing a knife into the cage amidst a burst of crimson. Then you may engage in mutual slaughter. I shall ensure you are buried together. They fell silent, their gaze fixed upon the dagger on the ground. My mother-in-law arched an eyebrow. What? Are you afraid? Were you not professing your undying love moments ago? Now that I have granted you the opportunity to be together, why do you hesitate? She continued, if you wish for me to take action myself, then let it be known. The first to strike shall be allowed to live. My father-in-law scoffed. Do not attempt to sow discord between us. We would rather perish together than raise a hand against our beloved for the sake of survival. However, before he could finish his sentence, a knife was plunged deep into his side. His beloved cousin, with a glimmer of regret in her eyes, whispered, Forgive me, Yunshu, but I do not wish to die just yet. I will remember you always. The defiance and coldness that once graced my father-in-law's face crumbled into confusion as he collapsed to the ground with a thud. You have betrayed me. The beloved cousin discarded the knife and knelt, looking pitifully at my mother-in-law. Your Highness, I have slain him. May I be set free now? He coerced me into eloping. As a mere weak woman, I could not resist. My mother-in-law clapped her hands in delight. What a splendid performance! I shall grant you freedom and bestow upon you 2 handsome suitors. The beloved cousin rejoiced, hastily kneeling in gratitude. Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you. Gu Yunshu was just a man past his prime. If given a choice, why would I choose him? My father-in-law, who lay on the ground, still clinging to life, could not help but sit up in fury at the words. Jinsei was merely an obsession of my youth. Now that she is gone, can you not forgive me? Physician, daughter-in-law, summon the physician. I did not lift my head. My mother-in-law let out a cold laugh, summoning 2 male favorites from behind her, both clad in white, their hair slightly disheveled, precisely her preferred type. Gu Yunshu, you have aged and become unclean. I no longer desire you. She lifted his chin with her embroidered shoe. It would be better for you to die. My father-in-law succumbed to his rage and perished. Gu Chongjing was released by my mother-in-law to mourn for his father. She insisted that they be buried together, heart to heart, flesh to flesh. Gu Chongjing wept like a child, clasping his father's corpse and repeatedly calling out for his father. Mother, why must you be so cruel? My father merely wished to be with the one he loved. How can you not tolerate this? No wonder my father despises you. No one could possibly love a woman like you. My mother-in-law cast him a disinterested glance. Oh, why would I desire his affection? Besides, am I not fulfilling his wish now? Moreover, they were the ones who engaged in mutual slaughter. What do you accuse me of? Gu Chongjing shot a look of hatred at my mother-in-law before carrying his father's corpse away. Meanwhile, news emerged from the Dali temple. Suyu had caught the attention of the emperor, who had whimsically taken her away. My eyelids flickered, and I exchanged a glance with my mother-in-law. The following day, a new virtuous consort graced the palace. The first decree of the virtuous consort was to summon my mother-in-law and me to the palace. Regrettably, according to her rank, she lacked the authority to summon the sister of the late emperor, the aunt of the current sovereign. Thus, she raised the banner of free love and began arranging marriages for the children of several ministers. As a maidservant fanned the eldest son of Prime Minister Lin, she proclaimed that they had fallen in love and awarded the maidservant to young Master Lin as his legitimate wife. The daughter of the minister, Li, had long been betrothed. Yet she insisted that her fleeting glances exchanged with a beggar by the roadside were indicative of love, and resolutely forced her family to annul her engagement in favor of the vagabond. Meanwhile, the youngest Miss Zhang from the Hanlin family, while purchasing candied hawthorn, inadvertently bumped shoulders with a man at the street corner. Convinced that they shared a mutual affection, she boldly decreed that she would become his 17th concubine. The officials were in an uproar, and Li's daughter, overwhelmed by humiliation, nearly took her own life. The matriarch, wielding the imperial sword of the late emperor, entered the palace. The emperor appeared entranced by her whimsical spirit. In contrast to the somber concubines within the court, Ayu was distinctly different. She stood apart from all women. As for the matter of marriage, it was merely her youthful folly, and the emperor would issue a decree to nullify it. The matriarch, frustrated by the lack of understanding from her family, wished she could immediately wield the imperial sword against them. At that moment, Suyu arrived. Adorned in the regalia of a royal concubine, her golden embroidered skirt and pure gold crown shimmering brilliantly. With her head held high and malice in her gaze, she confronted me and the matriarch. Did you think I wouldn't survive this? You heartless fiends. Jing's father merely pursued his own love. What fault is that of his? You have driven him to his grave. The matriarch dismissed her with disdain, and I scoffed. My dear concubine, if my memory serves me right, just half a month ago, you were passionately entangled with my husband. How has your true love now become the emperor? Suyu gritted her teeth in fury. It's all because of you. Otherwise, Jing and I would be blissfully in love by now. Noticing the emperor's displeasure, she hurriedly flung herself into his arms. But I now love the emperor. Love is indeed progressive. Jing is merely my past, while the emperor is my present. You have trampled upon lives. I shall ensure you pay for your transgressions, your majesty. You must punish them severely. Jing's father was an official of the court. Their harm to him is a blatant disregard for your authority. You are the sovereign. They are your subjects, and even if she is your aunt, it matters not. The emperor possesses the ultimate authority to deal with my mother-in-law. The emperor cast a glance at the visibly displeased matriarch, and amidst Ayu's coaxing, he seated himself upon the throne. What punishment do you propose for them, little you? Ayu glared at us with fury. I wish for them to endure every torment I have suffered. They relish in stealing others' lovers. Surely they have never known love themselves. I shall help them find their true love. A flicker of resentment crossed Suyu's eyes, and I was not surprised. Ostensibly, Suyu appeared to be a naive girl who valued love above all, yet beneath that facade lay a heart filled with malice. Under the guise of love, she sought to destroy the marriages and families of others, harboring a grudge against those of noble birth, intent on dragging them down to ruin. The man she sought for herself was powerful and handsome, while those she sought for others were all of lowly status, brimming with ill intent. She was merely a vengeful spirit masquerading as a champion of free love. With a huff, she declared, "You have brought this upon yourselves. All that was needed was to fulfill Jing's father's desires, yet you insisted on slaughtering them. Happiness was within reach for them, and you have ruined it. However, I With a kind heart, am willing to grant you another chance. Rest assured, I shall personally find your future true loves. The matriarch arched an eyebrow, scrutinizing every inch of Suyu's form. Suyu felt the pressure of the matriarch's gaze and instinctively sought refuge in the emperor's embrace. Your Majesty, look at them. They dare to glare at me. I am terrified. Please have them taken away. Oh, and they previously severed my finger. You must help me reclaim it. With that, she imperiously ordered the palace guards. Seize those two. The guards bowed in unison, the silence in the hall palpable. Suyu, incensed, exclaimed, "What is the meaning of this? I am the emperor's concubine. Your Majesty, they ignore my authority." Suyu believed that the emperor, being the highest authority in the realm, would heed her words. Little did she know that following the death of the late emperor, several officials had been scheming to usurp the throne. And it was the matriarch who had stormed into the palace, sword in hand, to protect the young emperor until he could govern independently. In his eyes, the matriarch was akin to a second mother. How could he ever punish her for an unknown woman? With a light chuckle, he responded, "Enough, little you. My aunt is indeed my blood relative, and the prince's provocation of royal dignity warrants punishment. My aunt has been quite merciful."
You are too naive to understand.
Suyu ground her teeth in frustration. Do you no longer love me? I will not accept this. Even if she is your aunt, the law must be upheld. If you will not assist me, I shall take matters into my own hands. She leaped from the emperor's embrace and snatched a guard sword. Yet, before she could act, the matriarch's imperial sword swiftly unsheathed, severing one of Suyu's hands in an instant. She fell to the ground, screaming in agony. The emperor, exasperated, shrugged.
Aunt.
It would be much better to sever her left hand. Her right one still possesses some usefulness. The matriarch scoffed and turned to leave. Behind her, the emperor ordered the physician to attend to Suyu's bleeding. However, the physician, being a relative of those she had unjustly married off, treated her with a particularly painful anesthetic.
Suyu died in agony.
Nobility across the capital, especially those wronged by her, rejoiced at the news. The victims, bearing gifts, came to express their gratitude to the matriarch. She remained indifferent to such a trifling gesture. Leisurely, the matriarch reviewed her son's studies and produced a newly crafted dagger for her daughter. Both children were overjoyed. Their previous injuries had healed completely, thanks to the finest remedies. Leaving no scars, they skipped off with the maidservants. The matriarch summoned two handsome attendants, one to massage her shoulders and the other to knead her legs. I resolved to request the emperor to bestow titles upon my grandchildren, considering that with Gu Chongjing's demise, I bore no sons. I was quite moved. The matriarch, squinting as she savored a delicacy, added, I shall endeavor to provide for the desires of both children, but as their mother, you cannot remarry. I shook my head in resignation. Being the mother of two children, how could I possibly remarry? The matriarch was merely overthinking. Yet, in the next moment, she unexpectedly shifted her tone and divided two attendants for me. It is my failure to have raised my son properly. I have wronged you. From now on, I shall ensure you suffer no injustice, as a form of atonement. Gu Chongjing's title was smoothly granted to his son, and no one cared about Gu Chongjing's whereabouts. Little did anyone expect that he had infiltrated the palace. He remained fixated on Suyu, and upon learning she had become the emperor's favored concubine, he managed to hide in her quarters, becoming her secret lover. Perhaps drawn by excitement, or perhaps reveling in Gu Chongjing's affections, Suyu would sneak away to rendezvous with him whenever the emperor was absent. However, one day, the emperor returned unexpectedly and caught them locked in a passionate embrace. Enraged, he struck Suyu across the face. He was merely seeking novelty, yet he found himself ensnared in a most ignoble fate, seething with resentment. Suyu endeavored to persuade the emperor with her rhetoric of true love, proposing a contest between two suitors for her affections. However, what awaited her this time was not the admiration of men, but rather a silken noose. She began to scream, accusing Gu Chongjing of seducing her. The executioner, devoid of any compassion, tightened the white silk around her neck, bringing her absurd life to a tragic end. The ministers applauded in approval.
In death,
she was unceremoniously discarded into a mass grave. Meanwhile, Gu Chongjing met his demise at the hands of the emperor, who, it is said, cried out for his mother in his final moments. Yet his mother had long since disavowed him. The emperor, after a moment's contemplation, felt a twinge of pity for this cousin. Thus, he retrieved Suyu's lifeless body from the grave and placed it alongside Gu Changjing's in a single coffin. It remains uncertain whether, in the afterlife, they would find joy in each other's company. I stand holding my children, quietly observing the kites soaring in the sky. The spring breeze caresses the willow-lined bank, heralding yet another year of spring. The tale concludes here. Thank you for listening, and until we meet again for our next story.